The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Helen Keller.
I'm Julie.
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Stephanie, and this is Blind JEMS.
Hey everyone, we're here today with a member from the International Blind Cafe, and we're going to talk about womanhood, family, to do with all that encompassing, and being blind and visually impaired as a mother, a grandmother, traveling, and whatever else comes up. And I'd like to introduce Terry to our group. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's nice to be here.
Hi, Terry. It's lovely to have you here. And that was a beautiful quote you just read for us. And it's so true, isn't it, that the things that matter most to us, we do feel with our heart.
Yeah, especially family.
Yes, especially family.
Yes.
So, Terry, I was wondering, would you mind sharing with us a little bit about your journey into sight loss?
Certainly. I was born legally blind in one eye. The other eye was pretty normal, and I got along all right, except in my 20s, I developed glaucoma. And then I started a very slow slide into vision impairment. It was probably in the early 2000s that I really started noticing I couldn't drive at night. I was having trouble with some depth perception. And in 2014, I had to retire from my job and then started taking rehabilitation classes with Society for the Blind in my town. And after that, I continued to have more vision loss. Currently, I have some light perception, and because of the glaucoma, even though there's only a tiny bit of sight in one eye, I can still read some text. But I jumped in with both feet as far as learning skills to try to manage my life.
That's good. That's really good. That can be quite hard to do when you're at the beginning of the journey. May I ask what you used to do for work when you worked?
Yes, I worked for State of California in the Department of Corrections. And the way I describe my job is I was a blueprint librarian. So I kept control of all of the blueprints for the prisons.
Oh, that's handy.
That is interesting. Yeah, if ever I need to break out of a prison, I'm calling you. You're the first one on my list. So I can imagine why that would have been difficult to do with sight loss. I mean, technology is wonderful, isn't it? However, there are some things that even technology can't help us with.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were able to drive, weren't you, Terry?
I was, yes. I remember my last day of driving was in 2006, June. I'll never forget that day when I gave up my keys.
I personally want to ask about the driving thing. So for me, when I, when I lost my vision, they, my ophthalmologist sent in a letter to the driving people, and then I got a letter back that I couldn't read, but my mom read it, and it said, your license will no longer be valid in 6 days. So I had 6 days, even though I couldn't see to drive, where I was still technically legally allowed to drive. Was it the same for you? Did you have like this weird buffer period of you can still drive, but You probably shouldn't, but legally you can.
Yes, my license was valid for quite a few years after I stopped driving. Yes, it was strange.
So it was voluntary, right?
It was,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I did the same thing. I drove way longer than I should have, and now I'm ashamed to say that. However, at the time, you think, oh, I'm fine. I'm only driving, down the road and it's daylight still, but it is foolish. But
Yeah.
it was very heartbreaking. It was depressing.
Yeah.
It felt like you cut me off at the knees because we didn't have public transportation. Yeah. So, how did your husband and children adjust to this life change for you, Terry?
Well, at the time, my son, he was a teenager, and he tells a story about how mom used to drive him everywhere. And then around 16, 17, then he started driving mom around.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he would drive me to the train because I would catch the train into town for work.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had that transition. But I don't think it affected them much when they were living with me because my children were a little older. And
Mm-hmm.
soon I actually got divorced. And so the family didn't experience it that much with me in the home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, me being the nosy one that I am, I didn't know you were divorced. So, do you live on your own, or did you put your feet back into the dating pool? Like, how did that go?
Yes, I did date some after my divorce, but I was not as vision impaired as I am now.
Okay.
I did actually have a short-term marriage again, which didn't last. And um, I've dated a little bit. I spent a little bit of time living with my daughter and my grandchildren, but right now I live on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That
And I
must be
have,
a change coming back on your own after being with the kids, eh?
I've been pretty used to it. I've really lived on my own since 2011,
Yeah.
just with that brief year or so that I lived with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you
So,
going to ask something, Stephanie?
I was just going to ask Terry, um, would you consider trying to date now in your situation that you are more visually impaired? I know you said in the past you did, but would you, or are you more content? Like, no, I'm not really even something that you would consider
I think
anymore?
in my circumstances, I would say no to dating,
Yeah.
but I would still consider an activity partner. If I ran across a male friend that wanted to do things with me, I would be up for that. I'm
Yeah.
just not going to be into the old
Let's say,
romantic
and,
part anymore.
and
Done with that. Been there, done that.
right. And is it more preferably because it is such a change to go from living with, like, yeah, you were saying your daughter and the little kids to now being on your own. Are there more pros than cons, or because you are on your own? If you run into trouble, what is your go-to? Like, all right, what am I going to do? Kind of a
It's a mixed bag. There were definitely pros to living with the family, but there were also cons. I mean, when you live with other people, sharing a kitchen, a bathroom, and just living their lives sometimes can make it more difficult to do what you need to do for
to keep your
living
daily, right.
independently.
And
Yes.
living with people, and I know all you ladies, people moving things around, and it's not trying to be mean to say to somebody, please don't move that, but things have to be in certain spots all the time. Otherwise, for me, it's like, oh no, I have to have everything. So I always tell my husband, please try to put it back in the same spot. Please, please, please.
Yes.
Well,
My perfect
familiarity does trump everything, doesn't it?
Yes. My perfect world would be living next door to my daughter and grandchildren
Me
in
too.
my own space, but I can walk over there, visit them. I
They
do
can
live
come visit
fairly
Nana.
close to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That
So
would be perfect scenario.
speaking of the grandchildren, though, Terry, you wait until you're a grandparent. There's nothing like it, and you think, yeah, okay. Well, it's true. There absolutely is nothing like it. I'm just wondering, from a blind grandmother's perspective, what do you find is one of the tools that are important to you when you are with your grandchildren for accessibility?
I would say one of the most important things is being prepared. Yesterday, the two youngest, I have two younger grandchildren, and they came and spent the night with me and were here most of the day. And when I know they're coming, I want to plan what we're going to do. I have to have everything ready for when they come over. So I'm not fiddling around trying to find things or don't have what I need to prepare meals for them, have things all ready.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most important things. And to have some planned activities. Otherwise, in this generation, if they bring their screens, they'll sit and play their games the whole time.
Yeah.
Unless they want food, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know where Nana is when they want feeding, for sure. But yeah, no, I agree. Like crafts is always a good thing, and I enjoy doing that because it's so tactile. That's a fun thing, and I'm discovering the world of accessible games and toys, and so that's been very helpful with the grandkids.
Can I jump in and go back a bit, Terry? You mentioned you jumped in with 2 feet. I know you've got a guide dog. What other things did you do?
Well, right away in my classes, I learned to use VoiceOver on my iPhone. I also got a Victor reader for reading audiobooks. And that's a major activity in my life is audiobooks. I learned living skills with how to be safe in the kitchen. And I continue to learn about accessible gadgets in the kitchen. I did orientation and mobility with the cane, learned how to operate it, how to do some navigation outside. And then I'll try out any new apps that come along that might be helpful to me as a blind person. So,
and how soon after did you get your guide dog?
I finished school in 2015 and got her in the fall of 2016.
Right.
Yes.
So, Terry, when you say you finished school, you went to a residential place, like you went and stayed somewhere, or did you go to a school every day? And how long was that rehab for you?
I didn't go to a residential school. It was the core program at Society for the Blind. So I went down to the school 4 days of the week to take the classes that I took. I did not take Braille, and I kind of regret that now. Oh, computer skills was the other class they had. And it took, because I had retired from work, so the school was the only thing I had going on. It took about a year and a half to finish the classes. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Amazing.
Stephanie, did you have that service as well? Because you live in the States. So did
Yeah.
you get that training also?
Yes, I had most of that. I did mobility. I don't think that in city of Chicago, and I will say it has the best program. They, to me, I didn't have the greatest experience, but I did learn a lot through um my guide trainer kind of went above and beyond a little bit, and we became friends. So I think I learned more that way. But I did mobility training. I did some computer courses, and then just jumping in these groups and meeting everybody, I've learned things that way too,
Yeah.
you know.
So I'm going to ask the
Mhm.
Canadians now. Elizabeth, did you get any rehabilitation training offered like that? The extensive training like that?
Nothing. Nope, not at
No.
all. The only thing I got was my mobility training with the cane, and the person I got came to see me twice, and that was it.
That was it.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yep.
God.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah. Morgan, what about you, my darling?
Well, I lost my vision the summer of 2020, so COVID was in full swing panic mode. So, and I live East Coast Canada and in a small area, so it was basically like, here's a cane, swing it back and forth, don't die. I did not get a chance to learn the tapping method. I only know how to do constant contact, which, I could learn on my own how to tap. It's not super difficult, but I should have been given the choice. But I got a couple lessons, later after that when I decided I wanted a guide dog, which, I'm going to wait a few years now before I do get a guide dog. Not because of my mobility and orientation skills, but just because of life changes and things. But yes, and right now we don't even have a mobility and orientation and mobility instructor where I am. You have to go on a wait list, and one comes from away every 6 to 7 weeks. So it's really bad where I live right now for orientation and mobility.
It's the same here. I'm in Eastern Canada as well, as you know. However, my waits aren't as long as yours, Morgan, because the person that has to get on a ferry to come and see you is, 2-hour drive away from me. So I do get a little bit of a better service. But you are at an age where you want to go to work and you want to be productive, and are there any training that, like Terry said, she got computer skills and other things? So anything for you?
I am going to be getting JAWS this Wednesday,
Oh, good.
which means nothing to you, audience. I'm sorry, but that means something that the people are talking to. Um, so the person who would train me for that also does not live where I am. So I could get some Zoom lessons, maybe, but that's again about it. There's a smart life coach that will help you if you have an iPhone and voiceover, but if you're an Android user and you use TalkBack, then you're out of luck.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it sounds
It's
like Terry got amazing. You got
Yeah.
amazing
You
skills.
really did,
Yeah.
Terry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Way
very
more.
fortunate. In fact, even after the core program, Society for the Blind has an amazing senior program that I'm very active in. And it's just an amazing place. We have social events. Every week we have a support group call for seniors. They try to integrate us into the community. I'm actually a mentor in their iPhone training classes for using voiceover. And I've
Oh,
met
wow.
so many wonderful people that way. And it's just in downtown. So they even have paratransit that I can take to and from the agency. So I'm very lucky. Yeah, very lucky with that.
That's very different. Being
Yep.
in the States, I would tell you yours seems so much more open and wide ranging, where in Chicago, I'm sorry, it's like a cookie cutter. This is what we do with everybody. You either do this or nothing. And man, seems like you had so many more opportunities to learn so many more things than I did, through the city.
Mm-hmm.
So that is great. That is great.
So Terry, I just wanted to touch on there what you said, that you're a mentor. I think it's really important to give back to the community. But what it does for you as a volunteer is something else. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I just feel like because we as vision impaired blind people need so much help from others, that it does so much for us to be able to give back, to be able to do something to help um, either other blind people or just anyone. I feel like that's an essential part of living a full life. So
Mhm.
if there's a volunteer opportunity that I think I can fulfill, I will do it in a heartbeat.
I agree. I'm with you
Yes.
100% there. It gives me a sense of purpose. Volunteering definitely became a catalyst to a happier, healthier life for me after my sight loss, that's for sure.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I'm sure there's lots of people that are really thankful that you feel the same way, Terry. So that's really good. And Morgan and I are learning Braille through the International Blind Cafe. We do we follow the Hadley program, and we facilitate study groups. So it's never too late to learn the language of your people.
Yes, not taking it off the table for learning it.
No.
Yes,
I
it
will
has.
say, oh, sorry, Terry.
Someday.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it seems daunting, but it's actually really not that bad when you're learning with other people, with the facilitators and other people who are learning. And also, that first time, like you're in an elevator and you feel the button and you're like, "Oh, that's the number sign and a B, so that means level, like that's floor
Level
2.
2. Yeah.
Yeah,
Level 2.
it feels so amazing to be able to figure it out on your own.
It really does. And like with traveling, do you travel, Terry?
I do, mostly flying. My son lives across the country, so I fly to see him at least once a year. Not too much traveling other than that, but yeah, I do that.
And how do you find traveling for accessibility with the airlines in the States?
Very good. I've never had a problem. All I do is let them know that I need meet and assist. And as soon as I get my bags checked, someone meets me and takes me right to the gate. And then someone helps me get on the plane. And then at the other end, the same thing. They'll even help me find my luggage. It's wonderful. I've always had really good experiences flying with
What about
accessibility.
what about traveling like in the city? Like, do you do Uber or?
I do Uber. Yes, I do. It's okay.
Mhm.
I live in a place that's a bit hard to find, so I have to use some skills in helping the driver to find me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
just
short of
finding
setting
it,
off a flare, right?
yeah,
Though,
that's
I
about.
think that's something that we really need to be cognizant of, is that, yes, we do need help. However, we have to be cautious on how we ask for that help. It's all about how we ask and what we do. Like, we have to do our part. We really do.
Yes,
Right. Yeah.
yes.
So I got a blind JEMS for you, girl. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this.
Uh-oh.
It was, this definitely was a blind moment. So I went to the washroom the other day and flushed the toilet, and it didn't go down. Like I could hear that the water didn't go down. Do you know what I mean? Like it didn't fully empty. And I thought,
Okay.
that's weird. So I flush it again. Listen, nope, same thing. So I go downstairs and get Jim and say, my husband, and said, the toilet's plugged. Well, what did you put down it? I said, I didn't put anything down it. Why are you blaming me? Because there's no kids here. Now it's my fault, like joking around. I said, no, honestly, honey, I went pee and it won't flush. So he comes up the stairs and he goes into the bathroom and he says, well, no wonder there's a face cloth in the toilet. I'd reached up into the linen closet, which is, in front of where the toilet is, and I pulled a towel off the top rack, like the very top shelf that I have to reach to, and didn't think about it. But not only was there one face cloth, two face cloths had thrown out and stuck in the toilet. My God. Do you remember Jim said, I thought once the kids grew up and stopped trying to figure out where their toys went when you flushed them down the toilet, those days were over.
I will say, Julie, you are so lucky that it didn't flush, because you would have had way bigger problems if that.
I know.
Oh
I
my
know.
God.
But he was like, what did you do? I didn't do anything. It can't be my fault. Well, yeah, it was your fault, you blind woman.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Oh,
You
yeah.
couldn't see that there was a face cloth in there. I said, how the hell am I supposed to see? My sight just doesn't come back when I look down the toilet, dear. It doesn't work like that.
Because you did that at home and not somewhere else.
Somebody else's house.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, imagine it. I just, oh dear, the things
That's
with
where
the...
you go into camel mode and you don't drink before you go out anywhere. Like,
There you
Oh,
go.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, there's no liquids when you're
when you
visiting
come
other
home, you're
people.
dehydrated and you drink 10 glasses of water.
Yeah, because you don't want to use the public restroom or anybody
Yeah.
else's.
And you run past and go, I'm first, let me go in the bathroom. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh, the things we do.
That is
Terry,
great.
thank you. I mean, really, I always enjoy chatting with you, girl. You're awesome.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a
Love
joy,
it.
always. Yeah,
Well,
so thanks a
thank you
lot
for
for coming
inviting
in.
me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
great
enjoyed it
chat.
very much.
we're so
Have a
glad you could make
pleasure.
it.
You can find more from Blind JEMS on YouTube, Spotify, and the internationalblindcafe.com website.